You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. 'Cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Tuesday, August the 26th. I'm your host, Michael Oliva, joined by Josh Moser of WSVN 7, South Florida's #1 news station. Josh, busy day today with a lot of news for the Dolphins. How you doing?
We've got a roster, one step closer.
You know, step by step, this is one step in the process. Tomorrow, there'll probably be some more changes as they put in their waiver claims and maybe add a few guys there. We'll see. And yeah, interesting stuff. We got a lot to talk about. So before we get to it, let me get through the business aspect of it first. As always, this show is brought to you by Caneswear. Everyone go to the website caneswear.com for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a Miami Dolphins jersey, hat, hoodie, shirt, shorts, anything for the home, anything for the car with the Miami Dolphins logo on it, caneswear.com is the website to go. Also, check out their store if you're in South Florida at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. They also got stuff for the Miami Hurricanes, who got a big game this weekend, as well as the Panthers, the Heat, the Marlins, and all that great stuff. Caneswear.com is the first place you should go for Miami Dolphins apparel. Also, check out if you're watching this live on YouTube or even after the fact on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Do it right now. Get it out of the way. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And Dolphins Talk Extra, our Patreon service, is still $1 a month if you sign up between now and September 7th. For the first month, it's $1. Go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. Use the promo code DTX1. You get access to our private message board, extra podcast, bonus podcast, interactive podcast where you can come on with myself and Josh and Aaron as well. A lot of fun stuff. And plus you can sign up for our fantasy football. Well, not fantasy football, it's filled. Our survivor pool and our pick'em league where you can win really cool prizes. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk, promo code DTX1. All right. Before we get to the roster cuts and all that fun stuff, Miami made a signing this morning. Someone that's been rumored to come to Miami forever, Rasul Douglas, the cornerback, 1 year, $3 million, used to play for the Bills. It's been on and off with the Dolphins. It seems like for about 3 or 4 months, they finally agreed to terms. Before I get your thoughts, just real quick for people who might not know. Now, the age thing, there's a little bit. He's either going to turn 30 later this week or 31. He's got two different ages out there. Either way, whatever. He's played for the Panthers, the Raiders, the Texans, the Cardinals, the Packers, and the Bills. He's got 19 career interceptions in 120 games. Last year is kind of really all you really care about. What has he done lately? If you're into PFF, it's not great. He had a 59.2 grade at corner, ranked 133 out of 222 corners. He had a coverage grade of 58.9, ranking 128 out of 222. And his passer rating against was 123.7, and he gave up 40 receptions. But he's rarely hurt. So that's a plus. And he's a veteran in the room with a lot of youth, Josh. And they need someone back there who's a veteran to at least help the young guys along, if not make some plays himself. So what are your thoughts on Rasul Douglas in Miami?
I think this was the plan all along. I know that they've been in contact for months, especially with this agency, Clutch Sports. And look, at Rasul's age, like, you don't need to go through training camp. You just need to make sure that this guy can pass the physical and you can plug him in week one. You could argue that, that's the same that Xavier Howard could do with the Colts. Well, we're seeing, a similar situation. But Douglas was really good in Green Bay. He's a bigger corner, which is good, gives you a little bit of size. But as of right now, Mike, I think he's probably your top cornerback on this roster. It could be him and Storm Duck would be your two right now, most likely to start the season if we were to begin tomorrow. But the good news is right now he's not on the 53-man roster, so they were able to keep an extra body. And look, he was probably the best available for the money that they wanted to spend. And then, I don't know, we saw the note. I remember Asante Samuel Jr., his dad was popping off saying, that he didn't want anything affiliated with the Dolphins, that it was a trash organization. But yeah, Asante Jr., had a spinal fusion, and he's going to get reevaluated in October. So we'll see what comes of that. But I think Douglas was the best available. I think this was kind of like the Darren Waller situation where they were talking behind the scenes, and eventually they came together on the money, and now this team has at least one corner with some experience.
Yeah. The thing on Samuel, his injury scares the heck out of me. And I mean, that's a neck thing and like a spine fusion they're talking about and stuff. So even in October, if he's cleared, you have to wonder. I mean, that's a scary injury right there. So that's going to be down the road, though, for sure. Second half of the year. And then you have to wonder, where are they record-wise, Miami? Is it even worth adding someone at that point? Or if the season's not going great, you just like keep playing the kids at this point. Let's try to see what we can get from them. But for Rasul, he's not a guy who's going to lock down your opponent's, number one receiver. But compared to what we have in the house, they had to do this move. They just had to do this move.
Best available for the money.
Yeah, and it's not that much money too. At the end of the day, 1 year for $3 million is well worth it. The cuts, I don't think there are any real surprises. I guess maybe the one surprise happened yesterday with Mike Hilton, who, funny enough, tomorrow was working out with the Colts. So
history there.
Week 1, you might be facing Mike Hilton and Xavier Howard if you're the Miami Dolphins. Is what it is. I don't know why. I mean, I'm guessing it had to be age, has to be somehow involved in this, because I don't know. That one's probably the one that kind of surprised me, because we know they're so thin there. Why was he let go? But other than that, they let go of the 2 running backs in Shamklin and Boone. We know Miami will be in the market for a back, because all they have right now is Ollie Gordon, Achane with a calf. You hope for week 1. You don't know for sure. And Wright is already out for week 1 per Mike McDaniel. Tight end Farrell Brown. Again, he's an older guy, not much of a receiver, so I'm not shocked there. Quentin Bell, McClendon, and Grayson Murphy. I think when they added Judon, not much of a surprise there at this point. Eugene Asante got an injury settlement. He's let go. Cornell Armstrong, he was out of the league last year. Mohamed Kamara, he's been hurt, so I'm not shocked there. Kendall Sheffield, a little surprised because he's played so well from the reports in camp. But again, they're going to be reshaping this cornerback room. Last one, and I'll let you talk, would be Channing Tindall. They finally just, ripped off that Band-Aid at this point, and moved on from him. Did anything stand out?
They kept more defensive tackles than I thought that they would. With Biggers making the team, we know, the size that he possesses. But they kept 8 offensive linemen. That's normally the number. But I think what we're forgetting are there's 2 moves that still have to be made, because you have to clear a roster spot for Rasul Douglas, and you're going to have to add a kicker at some point here before week 1. So, we talk about, the magic between the GMs of who should we put on the 53 to avoid them potentially getting claimed. And I think, I think that person, in all honesty, is Quinn Ewers. Like, to me, if Quinn Ewers is in, 7th round pick, I understand who he was, but for me, I'm letting that guy go, bring him back on a practice squad. Is a team really going to pick him up, and is he going to make a difference? That's a question I want to ask Chris Greer when we meet with him tomorrow morning. But it's that's an interesting one to me. But you obviously need a third quarterback, but they kept a couple guys that I think they thought other teams might be interested in. And I would say the couple of those defensive tackles, Quinn Ewers would be another one that's on this 53. And then, I would not be surprised if we put in more than 3 waiver claims, depending on the order ahead of us. We'll see if we get any, but I would not be shocked if we do not have at least 3 new players on. I'll up that. I'll say between 4 and 5 new players on this roster before week 1.
Absolutely. And I think some of the names to watch for tomorrow, Quinn Ewers, like you said, I wouldn't do it, but I totally understand if they did. I think some other things that they're going to do is Ethan Bonner is probably going to go on IR because he's going to be out for a bit. So that's going to open up a spot there. And right now, Liam Eichenberg's on PUP, and Andrew Meyer is on IR. He can return later
Short
this
term.
year. So I think someone like Isaiah Johnson, the corner, he's probably right there on the bubble. Cam Smith, probably right there on the bubble too. We'll see what's going on there. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else who's probably on the bubble.
There's a lot of safeties. I'm curious to see if one of them ends up on IR as well.
Trader could be, who we just
Trader.
had, who was just on last night with Marissa. Dante Trader Jr. Check out the interview. It's a great interview. He's a great guy. But yeah, Trader, we'll see what happens here by tomorrow. Yeah, you're right there too.
Yeah, so I mean, I really wouldn't say that there were any real surprises.
No.
So, you hope that you can get McClendon back on the practice squad. I know he was there last year. I think Murphy had his flashes. Anytime you can show prowess to get to quarterback like that. But again, you're talking about preseason games. You're not, Matthew Judon versus these guys. Cam Good is a great special teams player. That's why he made that roster spot. And I'm actually happy that this team kind of cut bait from Channing Tindall. I mean, he was a high pick. And you could say the same with Eric Ezukama was another one that just didn't
Fourth
pan
round
out.
pick. Always hurt. Always hurt.
So, it's good to see that. And Kamara was good when he was healthy. We'll see. Hopefully he should be back on the practice squad. I think that he would be, but I'm curious. There's other former Dolphins that were cut.
Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson, maybe.
I know some fans weren't happy when I put that up there. It's like, guys, I'm not pounding the table for him. I'm just saying it's probably likely to happen. So people think if you put out something on social media, it's like an endorsement. And one, I'm not against it because I think they need to add 2 backs because they are so injured back there. If he was one of them, I'd be totally fine with that because he knows the offense. He runs hard. And I think, he's someone who would fit like a glove, like week 1 even, because they're going to need someone for week 1.
He's a touchdown machine. I mean, you saw what he did in his short time back in San Francisco the second time. But, yeah, he's a name to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up a corner.
They got to pick up a corner.
I know that there's a young tight end that got released that was a high pick. I forget who released him. There's some guys out there. But, again, it just depends on the waiver order. But, this is when Chris Grier goes to work. And but regardless of all of this, you still have to go win week 1. I'm actually surprised that the Colts are favored in that contest, but you have enough on this roster to go win that game. And but yeah, we'll see how this thing shakes out. But again, you got to clear at least 2 roster spots. But I'm thinking between 4 and 5 new players from now and until week 1.
At least, yeah. And some people in our chat are putting up names at running back. Yeah, and it's like there's nothing wrong with these names. Someone here with Cam Akers, sure, because they're coming in. They're not here, hopefully, at least for the long term. They're only here until Wright gets better and until Achane, hopefully, those guys are back. When they're back, you got your top 3. So they're not like long-term signings, whoever they had. Someone else had another. Oh, here's one. University of Miami, Martinez. I know a lot of fans love him. But again,
he's probably going to stay in Seattle.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, yeah. And plus, when it comes to these cuts, I saw some fans say, I can't believe they cut Murphy. I can't believe they cut McClendon. And I want to tell fans, I want to just like shake them and say, every team has guys like that they're letting go. Guys that nobody really heard of. They were great for a month, but you don't really want to put them on your main roster. So yes, if someone else claims them, happy for them because they make a, 53-man roster. But odds are everyone we cut today, I'd be shocked if 1 or 2 of them got a waiver claim put in on them. Miami's going to have their pick to bring most of these guys back if they want on the practice squad.
McClendon and Murphy would be my kind of top 2 on the list.
Some of the wide receivers that they let go, like Weiss, put them on the practice squad.
I think, people forget, Weiss was the leading receiver at Missouri last year. And he's an older player. He's 24.
Tall, too. 6'3". He's got height.
Exactly. So he flashed a little bit. But, again, is he better than, your top 3? And, it's close. No. We could say the same with Xavier Strepa. There's a lot of Canes fans on here watching.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. And you're looking for scheme. You're looking for fit. But, yeah, Weiss had his moments, but he's definitely a practice squad guy.
Yeah, so it's like they're going to be able to, probably re-sign most of the guys that they want, not all, obviously, but that they want, and put them on the practice squad so they'll be here. But, yes, the next one, after you add those 4 or 5 guys, who you let go then, that to me is the interesting one. So Wednesday at about 4, We'll find out real quick because they just
Yeah.
announced them. They just put out a fax like, here's who's on what team now.
Yeah. So yeah, they know. I mean, that's what the process is right now. You're going through the list. You're figuring out your waiver claims. Chris Greer, is talking to the few free agents that are left. And, look, they have their whole, I'm going to say war room. We're supposed to call it draft room, but they keep tabs on everybody. And, realistically, we're talking about 1,500 players. I mean, it's not like there's a ton. So, people, they have enough bodies and they have the analytics departments now to understand who's out there, who's available. And then they have enough room in the cap right now to make a lot of things work.
Yeah, as well. And for the kicker, I know they had like 3 or 4 guys in today. And
yeah, they'll find somebody.
Well, here was obviously the name was Eddie Pinheiro, who's probably like, the name
here.
people will know.
He's here. So
he's from South
come
Florida.
on over.
Yeah. But according to Barry Jackson, the guy that they're going to sign, it sounds like, was a guy who was on like 6 teams last year. And I'm trying to find his name. Riley something. He was on 6 teams last year, and he went 4 for 7 on field goals. But again, look, it's only for like a month or so. I wouldn't read too much into it. But I can't find the name right now. But yeah, so I think it was Riley Patterson or something like that. That's the guy they're probably going to bring in at kicker from what it sounded like. So we'll see what happens there. The kicker, Sanders, he's a loss. And I think this is going to be interesting. That first, 4 or 5 games, Mike McDaniel likes to go for it. Anyways, on 4th down. But now if it's close, like it's going to be, he going for it. Like he really going for it now.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're hoping that whatever kicker you sign is, there's only 35 people in the world that do this, less. So
yeah, I know.
You're hoping that you can find somebody that can hit you something from 35 and in, and then
make the extra points.
And you're not missing it. Exactly. So, obviously they're going to sign someone who's fully capable and obviously someone that has experience. So, yeah, it'll be a hot topic if the Dolphins lose on a last second field goal, or if they win on a last second field goal.
I know.
That's the
life.
roller coaster of being a Dolphins fan.
That's life in the NFL too. All these games are 1-score games. Not all, but like most of them are just 1-score games.
Yeah.
Comes down to 1 play here, 1 play there. So really, just make all the extra points, and from 45 and less, just hit those. Anything over 45, it really is a crapshoot at that point. But from 45 and in, if you're somewhat consistent there, you can't be too mad with your kicker.
Yeah, people might get upset with me for saying this, but you fast forward to November, Justin Tucker might be available. So
I saw that he's out for 10 games.
Yeah.
Yes. And here's the thing with Sanders. That's a hip on a kicker. Once again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to try and play one. Doesn't sound like the one part of the body you want hurt on a kicker. If it's a foot, okay, that heals. A hip seems kind of, I don't know. That seems like iffy.
Yeah, we really don't have a lot of information. We know that it's on the kicking leg. It happened in the pregame before the final preseason game. So, you're hoping that it's not a tear. You're hoping that it's not a labral tear. But there's a lot of things that you can do with stem cells and just kind of check things out. But normally 4 to 5 weeks, if it's truly a hip, that that's not surgery. So it could be a hernia, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. 2 other names out there who used to play for the Dolphins, who I guess could come in because they are 2 spots of need. Nick Needham. We all know Nick Needham. Once again, I don't know if he's still the same guy he was pre-injury. He was here forever, was with the Browns, and there was some reports that he was going to win a job with the Browns as their nickel corner. I guess they went with someone else there in the end, so he's going to be out there. Again, I don't know if he's any better than what they have in-house, or if Miami wants to go there, or if they want to try something new. The other guy, and this really comes down to health, and if his heart is into it, is Kendall Lamb. Was let go by the Eagles. I don't know health-wise, because he gave an interview on Saturday after the game with the Eagles where he said, like, there's some things he still can't do. So I don't know where he is health-wise and if he wants to play still, because he talked about retirement a lot the past couple of years. But those are 2 names as well I keep an eye on. Yeah,
I mean, we'll see what happens. Duke Riley's another name, but they're so loaded at linebacker. I don't think he's a fit.
They got special teams linebackers. They don't need him now.
Yeah, they don't need him. So, I mean, I think, when we look at this team, like, again, Zeke Biggers is kind of curious to see what they do with him, just because he's a big body. You don't want to lose him. I mean, God, he thinks like 6'6", like 320.
He's big boy. Yeah.
He's big. Like that's why you put him on there. Larry Borum. I mean, you need guys. You need the guys in the trenches. But are these guys actually going to help you win games? And I still think you're looking for an offensive lineman. Still think you're looking for a cornerback. And then we see Bills way Frank Gore Jr. saw that. I know everyone loves the SoFlo connections, but I would much rather have Jeff Wilson Jr. than Frank Gore right now, simply because of his plug and play ability with this offense and his relationship with Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, I think offensive tackle is probably the top need right now, because after the two guys, they really got nothing. I think offensive tackle. I think tight end as well, if there's somebody out there. Tight end, corner, we know for sure. And running back's a need, but again, that's more of a short-term need. Well, let's hope it's
there's a ton. There's multiple,
and there's a ton of running backs.
Right.
I am not worried about running back, because there's a ton, and plus, and we now have merchandise made for them, which I should tell people they can buy. Right now in South Florida, here's what's happening, brother. Ollie Mania is running wild in South Florida right now.
Let's rock.
What you gonna do when Ollie Mania runs wild on you? You can buy it in the red and yellow, or you can buy it in black. Go to our website, DolphinsTalk.com, and get your Ollie Mania shirts. Because right now, this guy has been the star of training camp. He's won over every fan of the Miami Dolphins' heart. And look, he might be RB1 come week 1 for all we know, because I don't know what's going on with Achane. He might be RB1. So Ollie, Gordon. But again, whoever they add short-term, right? Sounds like it's not going to be too long. Even if it is like 5 games or 4 games, he's going to be back somewhat early. And with Achane, I'll take him at their word. I know that's dangerous, that he'll be ready for week 1, or if not, shortly after. So whatever they add there. One other name I want to mention at safety, who's a veteran, Tony Jefferson, only because he's got ties to Weaver. And time with the Ravens. And at safety, it's not like they're overwhelmed with talent there. So someone like him, a little bit older, I know, but they just signed a guy in Matthew Judon. So if they signed one more guy who's a little bit older, it wouldn't shock me either, because I think he could help at safety.
Yeah. I mean, I like this kid, Marshall, the rookie out of Florida, to the corner. I think he's got growth. They left him on the...
He got an opportunity. Yep.
Got opportunity. So, we'll see what happens. I'm looking at the chat. Lyle Collins released by the Cowboys.
I want nothing to do with him. He was terrible with the Cowboys, terrible with the Bengals. I think he's done.
Yeah, and I think he's asking for a lot. Well, he's looking for a little bit of extra cash. So, we're going to find out. And again, we really haven't talked about him because he's on the 53, but I think really the key to week 1 is the health of Austin Jackson. You need, because you don't have anybody. There's a huge drop off. And the team is completely different with him on the field versus him off of it. And, I'm very curious to see what happens. Remember, trades can also be made. So there's lots of opportunities to do a lot of different things. And remember, it's just the first week. So last year, what they start 2-6, and then they got to 6.
Something like that. Yeah.
So it's a long season. Everyone's, knee-jerk reactions right now, but pace yourself and prepare for misery at the end.
And plus, anyone they sign if they sign someone after week 1, their contracts are not fully guaranteed. So there might be someone out there, I don't know who it would be at this point, that they might want to sign after week 1. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they signed Isaiah Wynn after week 1, just because of the risk involved with his injuries. Totally. I would not be shocked if they signed him after week 1. Signing him now would probably be crazy, because the guy's always hurt again. But after week 1, there's no risk involved. So someone like that, I don't know who it would be, but I could see that happening.
Yeah, with you on that one.
Yeah. All right. Real quick before we get to the final segment of the show here, quick shout out to everyone listening at finheaven.com. Everyone go to finheaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also a shout out to our friends at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, run by the great and talented Carlos Hernandez. You're on Facebook. Please be sure you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. And also wherever you're listening, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Audible, Podbean, or one of the other hundreds of platforms around. Subscribe. Like I said, interview dropped earlier today with Dante Trader Jr., with Marissa. She did an outstanding job there. Tomorrow night is our staff roundtable show. Myself, Tom, Josh, Aaron. We go through and give our season predictions. Right before every year we do this. Ian's usually on with us. He can't join us this year. He's going through a lot, as we all know. It's understandable. But myself, Tom, Josh, and Aaron will be there. We go through the schedule. We we just give our thoughts on each game, and we each come up with our season predictions. This one's going to be interesting this year because the past few years, it's been a lot of 10, 11, 12 wins predictions. This year, spoiler, it ain't that. I'm not saying it's like really bad. I'm just saying it's not going to be like many or, if any, 11 or 12 win predictions. It's going to be a little bit different this year, but, is what it is. We're not going to lie and sell false hope and all that stuff. We got to call it like
17-0, baby. Here we go.
17-0, which leads to this topic. Now I'm going to play this clip. It's from yesterday. It's like a minute 43, I think. It's not. Oh no, it's 1:30. It's from PFT with Big Cat and Mike Florio. They had him on, and this is getting a lot of Dolphins fans angry. And I'm like, guys, first off, it's just a football opinion. You never get angry over a football opinion. Second, I'm not saying this will happen, but I'm just saying it's not like a crazy thought. So I'm going to play this, and I want to get your thoughts on what they said. And I know it's Mike Florio, which drives fans of Dolphins nuts, but again, he might not be wrong.
Mike, let's look ahead. Again, another kind of preview question. 3 worst teams in the NFL this year when we're looking at the draft next year.
I want to be careful here because in 2021, I said the Bengals have no chance to make the playoffs and they almost won the Super Bowl. In 2023, I said the Texans have no chance to make the playoffs and they made it to the final 8. Any team can make the playoffs. With 17 games and 7 teams per conference, any team can have the dominoes fall just right for them. But I would be very concerned if I was a fan of the Dolphins.
Yep.
I would be extremely concerned if I'm a fan of the Browns. I would find something else to do on Sunday if I was a fan of the Saints. So those are the 3 that come to mind. And I don't want to say the Dolphins are going to be among the worst. I just think they're one of the teams most likely to really disappoint their fan base who seem to think everything's fine. I think if you look closely at that team right now, it's like things seem off. And I think if they start slow and Tyreek Hill has 2 catches in week 4, he's going to blow a gasket again. I think he's a guy who could be traded. He could be the Devontae Adams this year. He could get traded to a contender if the Dolphins start not well and he's not happy with his overall workload and his catches and his numbers. I could see them deciding to trade him before the deadline.
I agree about the Dolphins. That's a bad vibe team. That feels like a team that could go south quickly.
Now, I don't want to talk about stuff with Hill because we've had that conversation a million times. If it'll be or come later, whatever, we're going to know soon enough because this year's flying by. It's almost September. But bad vibe team, which I find interesting. That's a nice way to word it almost. It's not that this roster's untalented because this roster has talent and it has talent to win. Yes, questions in the secondary. Yes, questions second string offensive line might hurt this team big picture. But when I hear bad vibe team, if you take off the homer glasses, you take a step back and you look at everything that went on with Hill and what our quarterback said about that, everything that how it ended last year. Chubb's back from his 3rd ACL. Phillips is back from his 2nd major knee injury or his 2nd injury that's pretty significant. All the questions in the secondary, like we said. I'm not saying it will go south quickly, but I get why some from the outside would say, I don't know what's going on in South Florida. That thing's just weird right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think expectations for this team have been high since what we saw in the first year with Mike McDaniel. And basically because of that, the Dolphins haven't lived up to those expectations. They're the number 1 offense in the league 2 years ago. It's because you ran the football. You go completely away from that, the following year, obviously Tua being hurt, etc. But look, Mike Florio obviously loves to nag on the Dolphins. It's kind of his thing. And you've got to remember we're kind of on the inside and you're looking for a little bit of clickbait and you're looking to rag, your audience. I'll say that. But look, he's not far off in saying we know that Tyreek Hill is a trade target because he's got an out after this season. So it would be a rental for the rest of the year. But what are you going to get for him? But I actually think Tyreek, surprisingly, with all this personal stuff he's got going on, the divorce, all that, from when I've talked to him and from talking to Drew a lot, he thinks that Tyreek is going to have a big season. And you talk to the players in camp, Jalen Waddle was his physical test day one when he came to camp is the best shape he's ever been in as a pro. So you haven't seen any of these guys in the preseason on purpose. So those are your two best players, and they should be able to get you 1,000 yards each. You're hoping for more. I think 2,000's out of the question, but you want to get the ball in their hands. And then there's just a lot of question marks. And the problem is all of the question marks in the last couple of years, if you answer those questions and you live up to it, this team is a playoff team, but they haven't answered those questions.
They haven't answered them.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we're back in the same situation. Is like, can Jalen Waddle rebound? Can Tyreek Hill rebound? Can Chubb stay healthy? Can Jalen Phillips stay healthy? Can Tua play all of the games? And if they do all of that, great. But the question is, are they? And that's where I think the bias comes in. And, you hear Florio, Mike McDaniel lost control of the locker room last year, which he didn't. But you just have
just a few guys just were like a pain in the ass. And, if they're making a lot of money, it's tough to control that. I don't care who you are as a head coach.
Yeah. I mean, look, it goes down to college level. Now you got the NIL kids that are making more money than their position.
I know. It's crazy.
Like,
it's crazy.
I'm making $500,000. Am I going to listen to a position coach that's making 300? Like, absolutely not. But I mean, shoot, I'd be great to be making
exactly.
Why not? But again, like, I truly think the players on this team, especially the star players, they understand that the window is closing. And if this doesn't work out with Tua and Mike McDaniel, we could see a huge blow up. But I think they like this role as an underdog. I think they like that people are not expecting them to win. It's a different thing where you go from, the hunted to the hunter. So now we're back under the radar. And we talked about the schedule a little bit. They're very winnable games to start the season, and it gets really tough towards the end. So you've got to bank as many wins as possible early, and then try to give yourself a chance to get to 500, to try to get to a 9th win, maybe a 10th win, towards the end of the season. And then if you do that, you're kind of right there in the same mix. And then can you go win a playoff game for the first time in 25 years? And that's realistically what this team is. I'm just being real. I'm sorry, everybody. I want to say that it's different, but it's not. And especially with these big injuries to Austin Jackson, Devon Achane at the beginning of the season. And so we'll see how this plays out. But, expect, around a 500 season could be 7-10, anywhere from 7-10 to 10-7. I mean, that's realistically the range.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And here's what I'll say about Mike Florio, because he comes out with me like once or twice a year. And I know this to be true. He doesn't hate the Dolphins, because the first question I ask him every year, and it's always a laugh, what fan base have you pissed off this week? Because every fan base thinks he hates their team, which he goes, and I think when I had him on in May, he's like, oh, Ravens fans are fed up with me this week. Like, every fan base thinks he hates
but
their
he loves
team.
that. Yeah.
He loves it because, again, you got, if you're going to give any opinion, whether it's even me at my level on this little podcast, you're going to upset people if you say something. Like, people, half the people listening are going to be like, you're wrong. And half the people are going to be like, you're right. That's just how it is when you give any opinion. So, and he's not going to sugarcoat it. So when he's telling Saints fans, find something else to do on Sundays, you know what? He might not be wrong. The Saints look really, really bad this year. So
Spencer Rattler's your starter.
I know.
I love Pete Carroll to death. He's one of my favorite people, but they just don't have the horses right now.
Oh, no.
In Vegas.
Pete's with the Raiders. Pete's with the Raiders.
Yeah. So I'm saying Vegas. So I'm like,
oh, yeah.
So you
Vegas
talk
is
about
bad.
the
Okay.
Saints,
Yeah.
but you're going to throw the Dolphins in over the Raiders, who look like they're
I think with
a mess. The
yeah.
Titans are a mess.
Cleveland's a mess.
Cleveland's going to be the worst team in the league.
And they have 10 picks next year, 2 in round 1.
Yeah.
That's a team that might want to be a mess, actually, because they're going to be loaded.
If Cleveland wins more than 5 games, I would be surprised.
That's 5.5 over under, which I will be putting in this week, the under. Jets might be a mess, but I think they're going to play hard. Jets might be a mess,
I love
but
their
I
head
think they're going
coach.
to play hard.
Like,
I love their head coach, too.
And players love him, but there's something about that.
Well, they have a quarterback.
Yeah, and that organization's kind of snake-bitten. Kind of like,
I
feel
worse than us.
They just haven't been able to figure it out. And I love Jason Taylor. I know that he watches the show sometimes. Like, we're really excited for
Mason Taylor's going to be a big-time player.
Yeah, and look, we know that he's there. We know that Jason played for the Jets. It's kind of cool to have the son go, but that team's got a lot of question marks. But again, like, if the Dolphins, I think they should
go one
be
of 2 ways. It's going to be they shock the hell out of us when 9-10 games or more, and they shock everyone. Like, everything goes right. Offensive line plays well. Secondary, finds it out and plays well. Pass rush is great. He stays healthy at quarterback and plays almost every game. Like, if all that happens, they're going to win 10 or 11 games. Absolutely.
Right.
But there's also the other side where
Right.
if Hill does have a blow up, the secondary is as bad in reality as it is on paper. Austin Jackson goes down. We have no one else to replace him. Yeah, this could go south rather quickly, and we only win like 6 or 7 games. Yeah, that could happen too. I don't think we're going to end up with like 8 or 9 and be like, in the hunt type of deal. I think we're either going to be good or we're going to be awful. I don't think there's no middle ground this year. I think it's going to go one way or the other and be on one of the extremes. I don't think it's going to fall in the middle. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and the good news is you've got the AFC North, which is loaded, which I think has 3 playoff teams, but they're going to beat up on each other. So you're going to get the friendly fire from that conference. And then, we'll see what the South gives you. I wish the Dolphins were in that conference. I mean, I think then we could talk about a playoff team for sure. But you got a chance to start against the Colts. But I mean, the Titans, the Jaguars might end up, making the playoffs. Who knows? But I mean, Houston's kind of all alone to themselves.
Well, no,
down there.
We're playing the South in the NFC, right? Yeah,
in the NFC. But I'm saying like in the AFC, it's
if we're in the AFC South, our life would be so much better.
Right. So I think you're a division winner. But like when we're looking at the AFC teams, you're hoping that the North beats up on each other. The West, the teams they're always there. Like the Broncos look really good. We know who the Chiefs are. So like in talking about the playoffs, you're hoping, for a little bit of help. And but again, I think when you play the Patriots and when you play the Jets, that should be
those games.
That should be at least 3 wins, but it needs to be 4. And I think that it should be 4. So, and then if you can somehow split against the Bills, which it's a big if, that'd be a huge win. If they can win in week 3, I mean, I think that would.
That's gonna put a rocket up their ass. That's gonna give so much confidence in Buffalo.
That would shock a lot of people.
Yeah,
I know it hasn't happened. That's a big ask.
But... That's a big ask, but that would put the league on notice. Like, hold on, we all might have been wrong about this team. That will put a rocket up their ass, and they will be front page news there for like a few weeks after, because I think right after that game is home against the Jets Monday night. So if they win in Buffalo, don't come home and lose to the Jets. That's like 1980. Exactly. You beat the Russians. Now we're not losing to bleeping Finland. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like there's that.
I'm peeking at this. That stretch of just to end the season at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati at home, Tampa Bay, and then on the road at New England. Like but the stretch of Baltimore, Buffalo,
that's the one.
Baltimore, Buffalo, then Madrid. That's
that's rough.
These are rough.
Last thing right here. The big news of the day. Do you have any advice for Taylor and Travis as they embark on this engagement and soon to be marriage? The big news: Taylor and Travis are engaged. Josh Moser, what's your advice to the young couple? Because we here at Dolphins Talk, we love. So this is great news. What are your thoughts?
I love love. On a scale of 1 to 10, my excitement for this is probably 0.
Me too.
But in effort of love, it's funny because I feel like Travis dated mainly black women, like ethnic women, his entire pro career, or at least that's who he was linked to. I don't know him personally. Don is awesome, but it's he found Taylor. I'm happy for him. Like,
that's it. Be happy. Be happy for the couple. And I know it's going to be everywhere.
They're super cute together. They look really happy together. I'm really happy, that he found his person. But it's just so funny to me. This whole Taylor Swift thing, the whole phenomenon is just
insane. She is so popular.
It's incredible. And like, hey, good for him. I thought it was actually really cool that she went on New Heights to kind of release her album and do all of that. But you know what? Leave these people alone. Let them live their lives. Like, to me, just let them do their thing. But look what Taylor Swift has done for the NFL. She's brought more female viewership probably than we've seen in a long time. And people are watching games to literally see her in the suite for all of like 3 seconds, maybe, once a quarter. But
I saw more females say, here's how I relate to this. I'm on social media and it breaks this news. there was one girl. I mean, there's been so many videos, and all these girls are going nuts. They're so happy, but I can't believe it. This one girl's on the White House lawn for CBS News. It's the Tiffany Network. CBS News on the White House lawn. She's about to go live, and she is like almost into. I can't. I thought if the Dolphins ever win the Super Bowl, I will show that much joy. There's nothing else in this world that would get like. It was pure happiness and joy with no filter on it. It wasn't fake. It wasn't phony. It was like she's looking at her phone. She saw the news. Her face dropped, and they had the camera on her because they're ready to go live. I'm like, I've never seen a human so happy about two people she doesn't even know in my life. And it wasn't just her. There was other videos that they're in tears. I'm like, if the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, that's probably the only thing in my life that would get me to act that way. So I'm not going to laugh at them, but it's just like she is so big as a superstar. I lived in the 80s when Madonna was out there. She's way bigger than Madonna ever was in the 80s.
Biggest ever.
She's bigger than anyone in the 90s. She is so stinking popular. Yeah. God bless her. Make all the money. God bless her. But someone asked me not too long ago, can you name one Taylor Swift song? And I'm like, no, I can't. And they were shocked. I go, hold on. I can name one. I go, Shake It Off. Because I've heard that. Like, what? And the response I got was like, that's the song you know? I'm like, sorry, I don't know Taylor Swift.
Well, I'm saying this with a big asterisk, and this is supposed to be funny and not serious, so everyone just relax.
Yeah.
Maybe they got a better prenup in place than Tyreek and his wife.
But I'm bummed. Yeah.
Yes.
That story's out there right now. But I mean, I'm sure she has an army of lawyers. And look, he's got money too himself, so it's not like anyone's hurting here.
Hey, I will say it was cool in South Florida. They were coming to Panthers games during the playoffs, and look, they're out. They just want to experience stuff, and they're living their life. So like, more power to them. And then I love Jason and his wife. I think they're a blast.
This is gonna be like the royal wedding, Josh. This is gonna be like on news. This is gonna be
100%.
This is gonna be what they have over there in the UK with the royals. This is gonna be the royal wedding, and it's going to be insane.
God, yeah, royal wedding. I'm thinking of a Game of Thrones. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, once Travis, signed, sealed, and delivered. I mean, that's not like the guy needs any money, anyways. I'm curious to see like how he plays the season. Like that would.
I think it's his last season.
Yeah,
it's his last season now.
This might be the swan song. I know they were bummed about the three-peat, but yeah, well. Hey,
congratulations.
You know what?
That's all we can say.
Here we are. We have jobs, and we're talking about Taylor Swift. Like
that's it.
We somehow this woman gives us a platform to talk about this stuff, and it's relevant. And God, the world we live in.
That's right. So, congratulations to them, and thank you for listening to this podcast. Yes. When we're back next Tuesday, we're going to be previewing Week 1 of the NFL season. Between Miami and the Colts. We have a real game to talk about. That's what we'll be doing next Tuesday. I've gone back and forth on this game so many times. I think I've been talked into Miami winning, but I don't feel great about it. But I don't know.
They're winning. They're winning this game.
Okay. You know what? Positive vibes. Let's do positive vibes. Week 1, we're going to get off on the right foot. If they lose, Week 2, positive vibe goes out the window. You're going to get cranky, Mike, at that point. Okay. So thank you for listening. Be sure to follow Josh Moser on social media at The Mose Knows, and check him out in South Florida at WSVN, South Florida's #1 news station. Head to our website. Check out our podcast. You know where to find us. Like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you're listening. And everyone, have a good night. We'll talk to you again after a while.